It's kind of amazing, isn't it? How sometimes, yeah, the biggest shifts in music, these huge creative leaps, can come from, well, from pretty small innovations.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it, like a compact little device looks simple enough, but it's capable of genuinely reshaping what an artist can even do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So today, we're doing one of our deep dives into exactly that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A small, but really mighty piece of gear, the Electro Harmonix Micro POG.
That little box.
Yeah. Our mission here is to really dig into how this pedal, which first showed up around, what, 2006, 2007,
Somewhere around there, yeah.
how it didn't just add another effect, but really changed the whole game for guitarists and other musicians
Yeah.
too. I want to unpack its origins, the clever thinking behind it, its surprisingly wide impact, and yeah, talk about some famous players who used its sound.
And it's interesting because, we often think innovation means adding more complexity, more features.
Right. More knobs, more menus.
Yeah. Exactly. But what's fascinating here, and the micro POG is such a perfect example, is it's almost the opposite. It's about distillation.
Huh.
How do you take something really quite complex, advanced signal processing, and make it feel intuitive?
Yeah, right at your fingertips.
Right. Make it accessible. And that's where I think we start to uncover some real aha moments about how sound design actually moves forward.
Okay, so to guide us through this sonic journey, we've basically pulled together everything we could find on this pedal. We're looking at its history, digging into its origins, the design, its impact, and like you said, the artists who really put it on the map. We want the full story.
Sounds good.
So let's start by maybe casting our minds back a bit. Set the scene for how things used to be, because for a long, long time, if you were a guitarist wanting an octave effect, maybe to thicken your sound or mimic a bass.
Which people definitely wanted to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You face this pretty big limitation. And anyone who played back then probably remembers this instantly. Older analog octave pedals, they just had this habit of glitching out or warbling or just kind of falling apart sonically if you tried to play more than one note at a time.
Oh, completely. It was notorious. You'd try to play a nice full chord, hoping for this cool, harmonized octave sound.
Yeah.
And instead you get this weird, sputtering, glitchy mess. It could totally throw off your playing.
Right.
That was just the reality for decades. Pedals like the Boss OC2 or the MXR Blue Box, great for single notes, don't get me wrong, but chords, their analog divider circuits just couldn't handle the complexity. Too much information all at once.
You just couldn't keep up. So you got those glitches, those warbles.
Yeah, exactly.
So it must have felt like lifting this huge creative weight when the original POG, the polyphonic octave generator, landed in 2005. That seems like the fundamental breakthrough. What made it so different?
Well, like you said, the clue's right there in the name. Polyphonic. The original POG, it was genuinely one of the very first pedals that could properly track entire chords cleanly. No glitches, none of that sonic mess that came before.
Wow.
And that, no exaggeration, that was a game changer. It just opened up totally new harmonic things you could do on the guitar. You could finally play, say, a full C major chord and actually hear a perfect C major, an octave up or down, clean.
Okay, so the original POG was this huge leap. But I remember it being quite a big pedal physically.
Yeah, it wasn't small. Took up some serious pedal board real estate.
Right. And that's where the micro POG comes in, becoming the sort of compact hero. It took that groundbreaking polyphonic power and distilled it down into something much more, well, pedal board friendly just a year or two later.
Exactly right. The original POG in 2005, it set the standard. But yeah, its size wasn't practical for everyone. So Electro Harmonix following up so quickly with the micro POG around 06, 07, that was just smart.
It kind of cemented the idea that this wasn't just a one-off trick.
Precisely. It established the EHX family of polyphonic octavers. It showed they were committed to making this tech accessible in different forms. And you see that continue, right?
Yeah.
You get the POG2 in 2009.
Which added more features.
Yeah, more advanced stuff like detune, filters, presets, and then later the Nano POG in 2014, which was even tinier, but had the same core micro POG functions.
Wow. So a whole lineage.
Yeah, it shows this continuous drive to refine things and give musicians choices, from the full feature down to the super compact.
So let's dive into the core technology a bit.
Yeah.
How did the micro POG actually do this? You mentioned digital DSP pitch shifting. For those of us who like a little tech talk, what does that actually mean? And why was it so much better than the old analog ways.
Sure. So unlike those older analog pedals we talked about, the ones using those, frankly, quite crude analog circuits to basically have or double the waveform,
Right.
the Micro POG used a totally different digital method. It had a powerful digital signal processor, a DSP chip inside.
Like a little computer brain.
Pretty much, yeah. A specialized little brain, super fast, designed specifically to analyze and manipulate audio in real time.
Okay.
So instead of just blindly trying to divide the signal, this DSP would meticulously analyze the incoming guitar sound. It identifies each individual note within a chord, figures out its pitch, its harmonics,
Ah, okay.
and only then does it precisely calculate and generate the octave signals you want up or down.
So it's analyzing before generating.
Exactly. That digital analysis is the key. That's why it could track multiple notes so cleanly across the whole fretboard, low E to high E, even on really complex chords, without glitching out. It was a leap from just physical manipulation to actual intelligent calculation.
And that's what strikes me about it, too. It's not just the clever tech, but how Electro Harmonix packaged it. I mean, taking something that complex under the hood and making it just plug and play simple, was that always the goal?
Oh, absolutely. I think that was crucial. The challenge is always hiding the complexity, right? Most players, they don't need the nitty-gritty details of the algorithms.
They just want it to sound good.
Exactly. They want to plug in, hit a chord, and hear a perfect octave. EHX's genius was boiling all that complex digital stuff down to just 3 sliders. Super intuitive.
Dry, sub-octave,
Yep.
octave up.
Yep. It basically democratized this high-end, often tricky effect. Suddenly, anyone could get these powerful sounds without needing an engineering degree. It seemed like a clear design philosophy. Powerful tech, super simple user experience.
Okay, so we've dug into the how, but the real fun, I think, starts when we talk about what this pedal actually does for your sound, how it sparks creativity. Those 3 simple sliders, they hide a surprisingly big sonic world, don't they?
Oh, definitely.
Right.
It's deceptively simple, like you said. You've got the dry slider that's just your normal guitar sound level.
Right.
Then sub-octave, which adds a signal exactly 1 octave below whatever you're playing.
Okay, the low end,
Yep. And finally, octave up, adding a signal 1 octave above.
the shimmer.
Right. And the real art, the creative part, is how you blend those 3. You've basically got 3 voices to shape your tone.
And the ways you can use those blends are just incredibly varied. You can almost like let your imagination go wild.
Yeah.
Blend the sub and upper octaves with your dry signal. And suddenly your guitar sounds like this rich, full, almost organ-like thing. It's like hiding a Hammond B3 in your pedal board.
It really can get that kind of texture, yeah. Great for
Yeah.
filling out a mix.
I've heard think about this. Isolate or really push that octave up slider. Maybe keep a little dry signal in.
Yeah.
Instant 12-string guitar emulation. You get all that jangle, that shimmer, that depth without actually needing a 12-string.
Which is handy because tuning a 12-string, well,
Yeah, exactly. Gives you that sound immediately. But maybe one of the most impactful uses, especially for players in smaller bands, duos maybe,
right.
is using it for bass emulation. Just push up that sub-octave slider, maybe pull back the others.
Yeah.
And guitarists can lay down these really thunderous bass lines. It effectively turns your 6-string into a pretty convincing bass.
It really does. I mean, could a guitarist basically double as the bassist with just this one pedal?
Hypothetically, yeah. That's a huge sonic tool.
It totally is. Maybe not enough to fire the bassist,
Maybe not.
but it definitely gave duo, like you think of Jack White and the White Stripes, that sonic weight of a much bigger band. He could sound like a guitar and a bass playing at the same time.
That's incredible.
It genuinely opened up new ways to perform. And again, that clean, glitch-free tracking we keep mentioning.
Yeah.
Absolutely essential for these things to work properly. If those organ sounds warbled or the bass lines glitched out,
It wouldn't work live.
exactly, they just wouldn't be usable or effective in a real playing situation.
Which, raises an interesting point. How much does simplifying the controls, when it's backed up by really solid tech, actually expand creativity rather than limit it? What do you think?
Oh, I think it expands it massively. Because by simplifying the interface, you lower the barrier for just trying stuff out, you know?
Right. Less intimidation. Yeah. You're not fighting with complex menus or trying to figure out what some technical parameter does. You just move a slider, you hear an immediate musical result.
Mm-hmm.
That direct feedback, plus knowing it's going to track perfectly, it just encourages players to experiment and find new sounds without getting bogged down in the tech.
Yeah.
It's like empowerment through accessibility.
Well cut.
So we get the tech, we get the creative potential. Now let's talk about how that actually played out in the real world. How did this little pedal end up influencing musicians? from, big stadium acts down to experimental players messing around at home.
Well, the impact is pretty clear when you look at some of the notable users, and importantly, how they used it to solve specific musical problems or create signature sounds. You mentioned Jack White already.
Right, the White Stripes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he famously used both the original POG and the micro POG. In a duo, filling out the sound is everything, right? And he used the POG to get that massive guitar plus bass sound. It let him cover both roles, giving that two-piece the power of a much larger band.
And then you have bands who kind of took that idea even further.
Definitely. Look at Mike Kerr from Royal Blood. His whole distinctive sound, that bass guitar hybrid thing,
Yeah.
it's pretty much built around octave pedals like the micro POG. Their massive sound as a duo comes directly from him crafting these powerful octave down tones. It gives his guitar the low-end punch of a bass, but he still keeps that guitar expressiveness.
It's amazing how it enabled those duos to sound so huge.
Yeah.
But it wasn't only about covering the bass parts.
Oh, not at all. You've got players like The Edge from U2. He's known for those complex atmospheric soundscapes.
Absolutely.
And he used POG series pedals, micro POG included, to craft those shimmering, layered textures, sometimes almost organ-like, that are just so signature U2.
Right, adding that harmonic depth.
Exactly. It's like adding a synth pad layer, but played with the feel of a guitar. And then for maybe a more avant-garde angle, think about Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead.
Oh.
He used octave pedals for orchestral-style layering in live shows. It showed the pedals' versatility way beyond just rock sounds, thickening his guitar into something almost cinematic sometimes.
So really diverse applications. And beyond just these individual artists, the micro POG had this wider cultural ripple effect, didn't it?
Right.
It really seemed to solidify Electro Harmonix as the leader in octave pedals.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they didn't invent the octave pedal, but they completely redefined what it could be.
Right.
The micro POG just offered this incredibly reliable, practical, compact solution. Suddenly, players who maybe didn't need or couldn't fit the big original POG could get that amazing polyphonic tracking. It made high-end tech accessible to everyone.
It became a standard piece of kit.
Pretty much. Its clean tracking, its versatility, it made it a staple. Not just for guitarists, but bassists use it too. Even keyboard players wanting to fatten sounds or create textures. It really set a benchmark.
Yeah, competitors came along like the Boss PS series, the TC Sub-Up.
But the micro POG often remained the standard people compared them to. It just carved out its own essential place on pedal boards everywhere.
So, bringing this all together, what does this story mean for you listening? Whether you're a musician hunting for new sounds or maybe just someone fascinated by how tech shapes creativity, the journey of this little pedal is, I think, a really powerful lesson.
Yeah, stepping back, the micro POG's core contribution was just elegantly bridging that classic octave effect idea with modern, precise polyphonic tracking, and doing it in a package that was easy to use and affordable.
Right.
It allowed for these really powerful sound transformations, that faux 12-string shimmer, the huge bass lines, the rich organ textures, but with a reliability that just wasn't there before. It kind of proved that sometimes less really is more, especially when that less is distilling complex innovation into pure, usable musical power.
It really empowered creativity. Just think about how one seemingly simple device could totally redefine what's possible for a musician. It let duos sound like full bands, guitars sound like organs. It opened up new genres, new performance styles. It's just a great example of focused innovation and the huge impact of making sophisticated tools truly accessible.
And maybe that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Think about how often the most significant innovations aren't purely about creating something brand new from scratch,
Right?
but about taking powerful, maybe complex tools and making them incredibly simple and accessible for everyone. How many creative breakthroughs, in any field, music, coding, art, whatever, come directly from taking something sophisticated and putting it right at people's fingertips, allowing more people to just experiment, to innovate, to create.
That's a great point. It really makes you wonder where the next simple-looking but powerful innovation might come from.
Exactly. It's a question that definitely goes way beyond just guitar pedals.